Hello, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd like to share with you how I make I call it cornstarch clay, to make my little figurines. So you're going to take some toilet paper. It's very difficult. Everybody has a different brand of toilet paper, so any brand will do. So what you're going to do is just take enough to try and make up at least half a cup of toilet paper. So I'm just taking a pile like that, and then I'm going to dip it into the water, just soak it a bit, and then squeeze it out and put it into my measuring cup. As you can see, I don't have quite enough, so I'm going to do another wee bit. So now I have my half a cup of paper. Then what you do is you're going to take it out of there and put it back into the water so that it can disintegrate into smaller pieces. And just leave it in the water for about 10 or 15 minutes so that it can completely pulp up. I'm using warm water because it seemed to work just that little bit better. So just put that aside now and let it soak so it can dissolve a lot more. As you can see, it's dissolved into quite nice thin pieces. So now we're going to just pour that out into a strainer. So we've just got the paper that's left. I've poured it out into the strainer and squashed out most of the water. Now we're just going to tip that back into our bowl. Now we're going to add some more ingredients. So the first thing we're going to add is some corn flour. Ordinary corn flour is quite fine. So I'm taking half a cup of corn flour. I'm going to be using PVA glue, so half a cup of PVA glue. And 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And then we're going to mix that all together. So just mix everything so that you have quite a nice consistency. So you can see it's looking quite nice and smooth at the moment. Still a little bit wet. Now what we have to do is add flour, ordinary plain baking flour, to the consistency. Also taking half a cup of the flour, but it all depends on how much water you've left in your toilet paper as to how much flour you're going to be putting in. So start off by putting a quarter cup in first and mixing it together to see what the consistency looks like. Then add until you get it into a nice dough. So I've added the quarter cup of flour, and now I'm just going to mix that through. As you can see, it's still a little bit too wet, so I'm going to continue adding flour until I get it into the right consistency to make a dough. It's quite thick now. Now all I have to do is tip it out onto your counter, put some corn flour down and start kneading it. Put some corn flour on your hands as well so that they don't get stuck to it. As you can see, it looks really nice and it's quite workable. And if it's still a little bit sticky, take a little bit of oil, just a wee bit on your hands, and then put it all over and then knead that in. And as you can see, it holds quite nicely with, so if you want to take, you'll see it also gives you a beautiful smooth finish. So if you want to make little figurines, it holds perfectly. So this is what I'm going to be using to make my little figurines for my dioramas. So I'll be making horses and little people. If you're not going to be using it immediately, put it into an airtight Ziploc bag, because it does dry out quite quickly. You might even have to put a damp cloth on top of it to keep it nice and pliable. So I'm just putting this in here because I'm actually going to be working with mine pretty soon. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.